Masechta Sanhedrin Daf Samach Daled Amar Aleph. We're starting from 5 lines from the top. We learned yesterday that the Yidden didn't really have a chukka to the Avodah Zarah. They did it because they wanted to be able to do Aroyas. So in order to throw off this yoke of from the Torah that's Melostishkin Aroyas, so they went to Getchkes, but not that they really believed it.
There's no vote. It wasn't the vote for that.
Right. So, but it wasn't. That was Bishitov that they felt that the Eibishter was the main thing. But over here, yesterday the conclusion was Yidden didn't really have a chukka to it. In fact, the Yemada Tashma come here. I'll ask you a question. I'll show you that they did have. By the Anshe Knesset Adil, what did it say? What happened? The Sanhedrin was screaming to Hashem their God. My Yoma says, what did the Anshe Knesset Adil say? I mean, Rabbi Yehuda, he take me, Rabbi Yehuda saying, Baya, vey, whoa, Hainu the Achre Levesa, that this Yetzer Hara from Avodah Zarah is the one that destroyed the Beis Hamikdash, the first Beis Hamikdash. So and the Heichal was burnt because of it. And many tzaddikim were killed as a tetzah from the tzaras of the Churban.
Right, this is Baya is Aram because there's no Aram.
But it's whoa, vey. Vaglino leYisol meyar ayu, and the Yidden were exiled from their land, from Eretz Yisrael. But who merakit beina? And this Yetzer Hara tanzt noch zwischen uns, still dancing around between us.
It's still alive.
Still alive, man. Kick and live and kicking. We'll soon get to that. Klum, you have to learn El Kabuli Bei Agra. He says Sanhedrin says it has to be that Eibishter did it in order that if we overcome it, that we should get schar. So it's like don't give me your
Don't bite me.
don't give me your honey and don't give me your bite. Here also they telling Eibishter, Michael the Yetzer Hara, because the schar darf nicht sterben because we fall through anyway.
So far was so good. Why you have to cut about it?
No, if I can't, they don't want the Yetzer Hara. They feel that we can't overcome it. And so you see, there was a problem that Yetzer Hara of Avodah Zarah was something that clung to the Yidden. So you want to know, they didn't really cling to it. It's if they got connected with it, then they became a very strong connection. So you want to the Sanhedrin over there sat 3 days, 3 nights, 72 hours to get rid of the Yetzer Hara. It says that when you do something for 72 hours, it usually removes the Gzeira.
So this was for cloud.
The Yetzer Hara, that's what they felt. Huh? They fasted 3 consecutive days.
So what does that do?
It's brought down in Esther Rabbah, in the Medrash Esther Rabbah. If it's you do it, if the Yidden put themselves in that sort of 3 days of fasting, 3 days and 3 nights, it removes it. Nafalahu Piska Mirakia. And a zettel came from the Shamayim. Now MS, and in it was written MS, meaning the Eibishter was Ma'ashit. He said, it maskim with you, it's better that to be Mevatel Yetzer Hara.
Why couldn't a tree grow out and say MS? What does that do?
It's a very similar story with the Baal Shem Tov. The Baal Shem Tov with the sukkah, he chose a sukkah with all Teirim. Good achis, good achis, and then he had Doifnak Kumah. But there was gaps all over, and he used all the Teirim. And he called it Talmid Chachamim. He wanted a sukkah because many Aniyim couldn't afford it. They had to take with all these Teirim. And the Abbanim came to the sukkah, they said, this sukkah is possible. Baal Shem said, the Baal Shem to put his head down, and he opened up his hands, given out petek. Sukkah shel Baal Shem to kosher. And it says that David Machna Ephraim, his grandson, had that paper. Everybody in the city, whoever would get sick, he would give it to them, and they were healed. And one time, after 2 years, nobody died. Somebody put the patek on his pillow. And the next morning he was healed, but the next morning it wasn't there. And that's what the Dag Machna Ephraim said. Okay, very similar. Rabbi Chanina says, the seal of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Emes. It's Aleph through Tav. It has all the areas. Mem is the middle, so Hashem covers all areas. Anyway, Nafkel Beguria, the Nudim, the basic Kodesh HaKadoshim. Right away after they fasted, a lion cub, a young lion a fiery lion cub came out from the Kodesh HaKadoshim. Avalahu, Schaya Novi said, Yisrael to the Yidden, Hainu Yitzhak, das the Yitzhak Avodah Zarah. This cub is the Yitzhak from the Avodah Zarah. While they were about to grab this cub, Ishbit binisimine. One hair fell off of him, and it felt such a tsar that the Azal Kalib from off the lion. The hair fell off, and it caused him such a tsar that he gave out a roar that it covered 400 pasei, meaning the whole land of Eretz Yisrael. Amru. So they said to the Navi, Heichin Navet, how are we going to do this? Maybe because of his roar, he's going to keep on roaring. The Navi said to them, Shad you bedu. Yes, because he's screaming, he's crying. So what should we do? They weren't worried. There were a lot of people. They were able to contain the problem. Is he's screaming, so maybe the Eibishter will help him. So they threw it into a pot of lead, and they covered him with lead. Well, they said throw him. I'm sorry. They said throw him into the pot of lead, cover him with the lead because because it absorbs the sound, so his voice won't travel. It won't travel. Okay. See, like it says in Chaya, it says this Yetzirah. They threw it into the cauldron, into the pot, where it had the measurements of Ephah, which is a lot, 2 saw or 3 saw. Let me see, Ephah. Doesn't say Hamachzika Ephah. I don't know how many. Oh, Shalish Sawim. It's 3 Sawim. And they threw the lead over it to absorb the sound.
Hot stone probably.
It doesn't have to be hot, but you throw lead. Lead absorbs the sound, so the cub, it would scream, it won't go out. So the Gemara continues. They say, since it's Eis Ratzon by Shemayim, the Eibishter gives us our requests. So let's cash in for more. So they said, let's get rid of the Aveda of Arayis. That was also one of the big Avedas they didn't have. They davened. The Eibishter gave it this Yetzirah of Arayis into their hands. They held it captive, this Yetzirah, for 3 days. The Sanhedrin, it says. They held it, whatever it was, whatever tzura it was. There was this person who fell ill, and they needed an egg that was from that day. They couldn't find. Because once he took away the whole taiva, nobody would want to live with each other. So there wouldn't be anything. So there was no reproduction. So they say, hey, how are we going to do this? This is terrible. We need to do it in half. We shouldn't have a Yetzirah for our rayas, but we should have a Yetzirah for our wives. Okay, so the mother that's not called Yetzirah. There should be a desire for the wives, but not for our rayas. So the mother but there's no such a thing. You don't give the Eibush doesn't give half. Oh, the God, there's no such a thing. So they came up with a chap. They went to the Yetzirah and blinded him in the eyes. A honey bait, so it helped. That they shouldn't have a desire with their mother or their sister or incest.
Why do they have such a crazy design?
That's what it was. Listen, you hear crazy stories. What are you talking about?
You don't want to have anything
But
to do
this
with
is
your
what
mother-in-law.
other Mepharshim say. This nima, this ear that fell off, that's the Yetzirah we have today. Could you imagine if we had that full cub? It would have been terrible. We're left only with that ear that fell off the lion. That's the Yetzirah. Rav Yehuda said the name of Rav. There was a Maisa with a Goya. She was very ill. She said, she said to the Shemayim, if this woman, she was referring to herself, she gets healed from her sickness, she will go and serve every idol in the world. Yeah, she got up. She didn't know better. She's a Goya. She got up. She was healed. She went and started to serve every Avodah Zarah. Like Yisrael, yeah. Even she gila paid. Once she reached the Getchke paid. How do you serve this idol? You eat beets, you drink beer, and then you get a diarrhea. Season for that, the heet on spritzen in the back. He gets a diarrhea and sprays in the back. She said, the Adka. Mutter Shabasa Yish Lechuya. She's better off, she says, she's be sick. And not to serve the Avodah Zarah like this. Yeah, she was more of an aristocrat. It looks like she is not interested in this low life style. Anyway, but you, Rabbi Yehuda concludes, you Bnei Yisrael is not the same.
Not like
But
the Summit, you mean.
right. You're not like that. You guys are connected to that Baal Pereir. Kitzamit puzzle, like a cover to a kli that's sealed tight that you can't take it off. That's how close you are. But when it comes to connect to Hashem, you like the two dates connected. You move it away. That's it. It is. So that's lignai. That's the degraded Jews. When Masni said, we learned the opposite. They said, "It's not about It doesn't mean like a kisui that's covered to a barrel that's sealed very tight. It's like a necklace that a woman wears around the neck, so you can move it around. So that's not really tight. Look at mamish. That's very glued to Hashem. We are glued.
So why they want to have that?
So I have two, huh?
They want the boat?
No. He's not saying. He's
said
talking about
you
now. We're
are-
talking about pain. We're talking about
No,
that
he
this
said-
woman. This woman was ready to give her life away to get sick again, not to serve the Baal Pereir. But us eating are not so. So
The boat where you're like, like a necklace, right? That's connected to
the second way, second way, it's like. But the Yidden are connected to both. But the Pereir not so strong, like a necklace around the neck. That's more of a shvach for the Yidden, but they're still with the Baal
If
Pereir.
you have a stomach, you go to Baal Pereir.
Yeah, okay.
It's not.
Yeah. Mai said there was a story with a Jew. Rashi says that this is the Saptra ben Olas was a Jew. He came from the city of Olas. He rented out his donkey. He was the rider. He rode for this guy. The moment she came to the Getchke Pereir, she says to the driver, that the Yid Hampton said, wait here till I go into the Baal Pereir, take care of business and come back. After she went out, he said to her, you too wait for me to go out. Yeah. I'll come out. Okay. The woman says, what are you? Aren't you a Jew? What's this? What do you care? Take it easy. Nicholas, he went in and he took a dump in front of the Getchke. He did something special. He wiped himself on the nose of the prayer. The were praising him. He wanted to degrade this Getchke. But let's give upon him mamish on the nose of the Getchke. And they said, ooh, this. He said, we never had a person who came up with Hazak Chap to serve the Avodah Zarah in such a way. Special, you're special. Legit. But he meant for the degraded. Okay, so we're going to see now. We learned in the Mishnah, says the Gemara, now it continues. Somebody who defecates himself to the Baal Pereir, that's that service. Even if his intention is to degrade it, he's still chayiv. Somebody who throws a stone on the makulis. Makulis was two stones with another stone on the top, and the avodah was to throw stones on it. So somebody throws a stone. That's the avodah. Even though your intention is to be mevazet, to throw it hard to try to break it. What?
So do you want to say if you should bring?
I don't know, but here's Makulis. He says that was
You
nothing.
should bring a korban.
Huh?
You want to know if you should bring a korban?
No.
We hear about Baal Pereir, about the man.
Right. So look, he tells a story. Rav Nasha was going a journey, Lebeit Tursa. He was going on a journey. And the people said, "Listen, you know where you're going? Avodah Zarah. You're walking this place. This place is Avodah Zarah." So he got all upset. Shakal Pisa Shada Bey. Shakal Pisa. He took a clod of earth This is the he took the clod, he picked it up and he threw it on him.
What was it?
They told him you're standing in Avodah Zarah.
Yeah, he was
So
waiting.
he was Menashe was afraid, so he was upset. So he took a clod, mud, and he threw it on it to show that he's mavaza. He's not. So
That's the Avodah- that's the
I'm
Avodah Zarah.
Rulay. Makulis, this Avodah Zarah. Makulis, what are you doing? What do you throw in his stones? I'm lahu. Azeri kevin live makulis. Nevertheless, it says you throw to the makulis, not on the makulis. He threw it at it. Tanan. That's what he says in the Mishnah. We only throw to the makulis. Us shobei midasha. They came and they asked the basement. He came and he asked them the basement. Shamalay Azeri kevin makulis. Tanan. We learned. They said to him, no. It says be makulis. So he says, even though you had in mind to destroy it or to be mavazi, to hit it, you're still chayiv. He said, maybe Ezel Hashkala. Let me take at least back the clod of earth that I put on it. I don't want it to have any anna. Whether you take it away, take it back, it's also avodah. Because you're still chayiv. Because the minute you take it away, you're giving room for other people to throw it. So this story is mamish pachajo, like you hear the story that there was a person that came to the Rav. He says, "Uy, this is the end of Yom Kippur. I can't find. I don't have even one chet. Hat nicht kein chet. He doesn't know what to do. But I was talking to chet. How do I say chet? It's going to be terrible Yom Kippur." He says, "No. Efsha, maybe Efsha has to cheshbon with them. Maybe take care of business." He says, "Oh, yeah, chaba cheshbon my shochen. I gefällt a mensch." So he went to Shochen, with him ungebrochene Beine. He says, I owe you this, and this is the time. Anyway, he goes out of the house, and mitamal he hears a scream from the wife. He says, Rabbi, weiß nicht, was war nicht zu it abgetan. So here's the same thing. Here you think you're doing, he thought he's going to throw it, he's not doing an Aveda. No, okay, good. Somebody who gives from his children to the Getchke called Melech, till he gives it to the Misharsim, those that serve that Melech, he cannot do it himself. He has to give it over to somebody who works for the Melech. A shliach. And he brings it to the fire. If he gave it to the Melech, and he didn't bring it between the two fires, it's also nothing. Or he brought it between the two fires, but he didn't give it to a Misharis. He did it himself. Till he, for two things you need. You have to give it over to the Meshar say of the Melech, and he has to go through the fire. We learned in the Mishnah. Avodah Zarah. Then the Katani Melech. So it sounds like it's two completely different things. Avodah Zarah is one thing, and Melech is another. It's another Avodah. It's not Avodah Zarah. It's another Avodah. Melech is another. What it is, we don't know exactly. The Torah calls it Melech. We're learning like the Shita that Melech is nicht genau Avodah Zarah. That's why the Torah said separately. The Tanya that we learned separate. The Tanya that we learned in the Mishnah. Say if somebody brings his children to the Melech or to any other Avodah Zarah, chayiv, he's chayiv. If he uses the Avodah of Melech by another Avodah Zarah, he's going to be potter. The Tanakama holds the Avodah of Melech. The Tanakama holds that Yechayev because he says the Avodah of Melech is Avodah Zarah, and that's why if he does that same Avodah of Melech to another Avodah Zarah, he's Chayev. Rabbi Elazar ben Shimon says no way, Avodah of Melech is not Avodah Zarah. So if you did that Avodah to Avodah Zarah, that's not called Avodah Zarah. It's not. It's not in your Avodah Zarah, and that's why he says you're not going to be Chayev only if you did that specific Avodah by the Melech. Sagt die Gemara, Rabbi Elazar ben Shimon, Rabbi Chanina ben Atignois, Amar Davar Echad. Rabbi Elazar ben Shimon, Rabbi Chanina ben Atignois, say one thing. Says Gemara, Rabbi Elazar ben Shimon, Hada Amara. Rabbi Elazar ben Shimon, what we just said, that it's two separate things. Melech is Nishkana Avodah Zarah. Rabbi Chanina ben Atignois, what did he say? The Tanya we learned in Rabbi Chanina ben Atignois, Pnei Ma Tavsa Teira Lashon Melech. Why did the Torah single out Melech out of Avodah Zarah? It should have been included with all the Avodah Zarahs. To tell you, Koshem, Licho, Aleim, Afilu Tzirayu, Afilu Chisam, Yechayev. Anybody, what's the thing in Melech? Melech is that you carnate, you make them as a ruler. You made the Matzle Tzirayu, the Stein is he's your king. Or you make this toothpick or whatever you call it between the teeth, that splinter, you made it, that's the gut. So if you do that, that's a different. So he says that you're over for melech. So they said the same thing because that's what the melech is. So Rabba melech ara ikvanayu. Rabba says no. There is a difference between Rabbi Lezer and Rabbi Chanina. Rabbi Lezer was Rabbi Chanina spoke about something that's temporary. You take a stone; it's not there to stay. You took a stone. He said, "This stone is going to be a rule over me," but it's only for now, for the time being. It's not temporarily, right? Rabbi Lezer was talking about they fixed up a place, 2 big stones, and they put a third stone on the top of the 2 stones. It's not there to move. So he says only a kavudik melech is chayiv, of a temporary not. And Chanina ben Atiknai said that even if it's temporary, you're going to be chayiv. Rabbi Yanni said, you're not going to be chayiv till you give it for the melech, until you give it over to those that take care of that avodah zarah, that melech. So never, like it says in the pasuk, from your children you shouldn't give to be passed through the melech. Similarly, I would have thought if the father himself took his son and didn't give his son and he didn't give it over to the misharsim, I would have thought, Yeh Chayiv, Talmud Leimer comes the pasuk and says, Lo Yisitin, the father should not give it to somebody else to give it to the melech. So if you yourself did it, you're not Chayiv for it. What's if the father gave over his son for the melech? The law you have it, but they didn't bring him between 2 fires. So what's the halacha there? So I would have thought he's Chayiv. Talmud Leimer, La Melech, it has to be mamis for the melech, which is 2 fires on both sides. And we'll soon see. I'm with a path in between the 2 fires. We're soon going to speak about it. If the father took from his children and he brought it to the melech, he gave it to the misharis to give it to the melech, but he didn't do it through a fire, I would have thought chayiv. So how do I know he's not chayiv? So he says, "Nemakan lahavi, v'nema lahalon leyimatz b'mavi b'nei ubite ba'eish." So he says, just like the havi that says in the second pasuk, lahalon ba'eish, just like in the second pasuk when it says lahavi, it means a fire. Afkan ba'eish. So too in the first pasuk it means a fire. Uman kan melech, and just like the first pasuk says it's melech, af lahalon melech. So too the second pasuk is melech. So we learn 2 things from both psukim. Each one learns one thing from the other. If he brought all his children to the melech, it says from your children. It doesn't say all your children.
Does it matter if it's a boy or a girl?
It doesn't matter, but it cannot be all your children. It has to be from your children, not all of them. If you didn't bring all of them, you're potter. Abashi is the kasha. Suma. Mao, Yoshin, Mao. Because somebody who's blind, you have to be able to go yourself between it, it says. He says, they have to be able to go themselves. It's no good. Because he has to be able to go himself, find it himself, and be able to go through it. So we're not sure if the child or a person that's sleeping.
Has to run through it?
Yeah, it's between. It's not running. It's not so hard. You'll soon see. It was a path, and on the 2 sides of the path, there was a fire on both sides of the path. They just walked through it. It's a symbol by them.
You don't get burned?
No, that was Parvari. That's what Rashi Bavarns. Yeah, with Chizkiyo and his father Achaz, and his mother saved him with the salamander that came out of the fire. Oh, we'll learn about that soon. But Avashi is like so. Yes. Yeah. So it was yesterday. I'm sorry. We learned it yesterday. What's if it's a grandchild? What's going to be the din? It says from these 3 shaylas I can answer one. The time we learned in the Braisa, Ki mizare nosan la melech. From his children he gave to the melech. It says that you shouldn't be maveh, bring through your son and your daughter in a fire. I only know a son and a daughter. How do you know a grandchild? It says it says again besita giving. Besita Mizara. Besita.
Enig was.
Oh, yeah, it said, but the kvetch is Besita. Besita Mizara. Okay, fine. So you want to Tana Pasa Beki Mizara. The Tana started off with the Pasig from Mizara. Look in the first Pasig, that's Pasig Gimel. But he goes off Gimel. Ti Mizara Nasan Lamelech. And then he brought you a Pasig Besita Mizara, which is Pasig Dalit. With Salik Besita Mizara. If it was the same Pasig, okay, but why did he take two psukim? Says I see it's two psukim. You made one limit. So he says Dasha Achrinahu. He says because he brought these two psukim because he can make a second Dasha. Zara in the Elazar Kasha. I would have thought Zara means only Kasha children. Zara possible, but what's if it was a mamzer, the child? Are you going to be chayiv if you take a mamzer and you bring him between the two fires? Menayin, how do you know he's going to be chayiv? Tamad leima b'sit mizarei lamelach. So mizarei means over here after kasha. Yes, so he's gonna. That's what he's telling you. So Zaina he's chayiv for
Means even
a mamzer. Yeah, that is also going to be chayiv. So a mamzer is Zaina. Yeah. You're not chayiv till you bring him. You pass him through. Like they did by the Hamelech. What do you mean? You're passing them through between? What are you talking about? In the middle, there was a big path with stones. And then, there was a fire on both sides.
So the father has to walk along with the kid?
Yeah. No, he gives it over to the Misharis. And the Misharis walks with, carries the kid and walks through it.
So he walks with them.
What if the kid can walk on his own?
Here it's talking about that he holds the child and he brings him through. The Misharis has something to do with it. He has to pick up the child. Oh, so here he brought down the kasha. Here he's telling you, I thought it means burning. No, he says, no, the melech is, that's, the burning is lelehei hasfarvim. Hasfarvim, like we learned yesterday. You're right. We learned the hasfarvim yesterday. What did they do? They actually burned the child. And like Ochas wanted to do to Chizkiah. But his mother saved him. She took the salamander that came out of the fire, that he could stay in the fire, took the oil from it and smeared it over Chizkiah, and that's how he made it through. But here's not to burn the child. That's not Melech, to bring him through. That's according to Abaye. Rabbi has a different view of how the Melech worked. He says, Kemashvar to do Poria. It was like the Jews would do like acrobats when it came to Purim. They would put a fire in a bear and they would jump from one edge of the bear over the fire to the other side. Oh yeah, in camp you went through the loops. So, but over here they had bears that they would jump over and put him. That was the Melech. Sagt die Gemara, Tanya can say that Rabbi we don't know, but I said similar Rabbi. Ein chayiv, a person is not the chayiv. Ad sheyavirana derech habarase, like the way they did it by the Melech. Haviru beragel potter, but if they did it beragel, it's potter. By Abaye was beragel. If you walk through it, you had to jump over a bird which had fire in it. That's how Rava looked at it.
So not
Not a fire on both sides like Abaye. It's like the chayiv ella yotzirei. He's the only who's going to be chayiv. The father's going to be chayiv. Any child that came from him. Okay, son. If it's son and his daughter that came from him. His father and mother didn't come from him. His brother and sister did not come from him. Potter is potter. How about Hever Atzmai? If he himself went, potter, according to the Tanakhama, Rabbi Shimon Mechayev. Rabbi Shimon says he's chayiv. Echad, we're soon going to understand the machlokes. Echad lamelech, echad l'shah avodah zarah. Somebody who's marvel his son to the melech, or he does the same by other avodah zarahs. Chayiv, he's chayiv. Rabbi Shimon, melech chayiv. He says melech. The Rabbanan hold melech is avodah zarah. So therefore, if he did the avodah of melech by another avodah zarah, you're going to be chayiv. Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Shimon says, "La melech." Only if he did it to the melech, he's chayiv because melech is not avodah zarah. But if he did it shalei la melech potter, he's going to be potter. Abba Ula said, "My time to Rabbi Shimon." What's the reason that Rabbi Shimon says that if he himself went through the melech, he's going to be chayiv? So he says because Amakar says in the pasuk, "Lo yimatze becha." It says the word becha. B'cha be'atzmecha, including yourself.
Does he also need Masira to the Kaimer here?
That's a good shayla. I don't know. I don't know all the details of Melech.
In other words, he gives himself over to the
He's
Kaimer.
Talmud.
Oh, here I am. Take me.
Yeah, probably. Anyway, he probably give him a piggyback over on the path. Take him and walk through. Anyway, b'cha be'atzmecha.
Hold his hand, and walk up there.
No, you have to carry him. It seems like. Rabbanan loy dashi b'cha. So you have to say Rabbanan are not dashning b'cha. That's why he's potter. How can you say they're not dashning b'cha? But now we learned the finish in the Mishnah. Somebody who had two avidas, he had a choice to find to retrieve his or his father's. Avidos, he has to take his first. Shaloi kedemes. I kibudav. It says Raminon. My time, why? If it's a choice between your Aved and your father's Aved, you have to take yours first. It says in the pasuk, this pasuk is mechayiv every person to be careful not to become an anivavian. You have to be careful. Yeah. So if that's what you have, so you go for yours first. You shouldn't become an anivavian. So therefore, kedemis la'atzalas u'shmiras avshan. It's very good. Kedemis la'atzalas u'shmiras mamish hakol adam. His comes before every person. So you see, from where does he learn it out? Becha. Yourself comes before your father. That's what it says. It says, you want to know, it's not from Becha that we learn out that he comes before his father. He says, Hasam may Ephes. Ephes means that it shouldn't cease to exist. That you shouldn't become non-existent. You shouldn't lose to become an ani. That's what that's where you learn out. There are three psukim that say kodesh v'avodah zarah. One is v'ani etnes pani b'ish hahu b'ichrati es mekarav. That's one pasuk, and then it says v'samte ani es pani b'ish hahu b'mishpachta b'ichrati es kol hazen v'achrav listeners achrei amalch. That's the second pasuk. And the third pasuk is Perik Tesval, pasuk Lamed Aleph, Ki Dvar Hashem Boza, Ves Mitzvasei Hefer. He kores hanav shahi avayna ba. So 3 times it says krisus for Aved Avodah Zarah. So it's Gemara Lamanda Ma Melech Avodah Zarah. According to Manda that says Melech is Avodah Zarah. Kores lameli. Oh, I'm going to say. I'm going to be Yisrael. I'm going to say krisus Avodah Zarah. Lama. Why do I need 3 psukim? Achas lekedaka. If you serve it the normal way, you're going to be chayv krisus. The achas, if you serve it shaloi kedaka. The achas lemelech. I want to tell you that melech, you're going to be chayv krisus. No, it's not avodah zarah. That's why you needed a third krisus to tell you melech, which is not avodah zarah. You'll still be chayv kodesh. But ulamane melech avodah zarah. Kodesh, but melech lameli. What do I need kodesh for melech to tell you you're going to be by melech chayv kodesh? Melech is avodah zarah. You have already a pasuk kodesh to say for avodah zarah. But the yomar lemavet b'nei shaloi kedaka. It's needed that if he'll take his son to avodah zarah, shaloi kedaka, meaning which is it's avodah is not done that way.
We're talking about melech. No, if he takes his son, shaloi kedaka.
Yeah.
How does that happen?
So he here 39. So he says. Hamanasach v'hamaktav ha'mishtachal ha'avodah zarah chayev im ein derech ha'avodah zarah shal eis ha'avodah zarah b'achs min ha'adach meila u'mashar ha'avodah zarah chayam alek shas ha'avodah zarah only if you did the avodah zarah. We learned that from the Amei Kares. Gamei meila cham nalem sha'isa kein kol ha'avodah zarah shebe'elam chayev kares af im ein derech ha'avodah zarah. And he says even if you do the derech of melech to another avodah zarah, you will be chayev. But if it's to avodah zarah, that's it's shaloi kedaka. Yeah, he's going to be chayv kares. That's what he's come to. To a different avodah zarah. Sure, that's what he means. That the avodah wasn't done the same way as melech, and he did melech. I'll be chayv. According to the one that says megadif, one who curses Hashem's name, is avodah zarah. So Kodesh Megadif Lamali. What do I need a pasuk for? By Megadif, there's a special pasuk that says that he's Chayav Kodesh. What do I need a pasuk there? And the Gemara Tanya, like it says he Kodesh to Kodesh. It says twice he Kodesh to Kodesh. He Kodesh by Mazeh. He Kodesh Laila. In some way, he'll be also cut off, not only from this world, but in some way he'll be cut off in the world to come as well. Divir Rabbi Akiva, Amalei Rabbi Yishmael. So every Kares refers to another world. So it says v'nichrisa, v'alei kvar nema v'nichrisa. In the previous pasuk it says v'nichrisa adam shahid mekerev hama. So it's now you have 3 Kareses. How many? He's cut off in 2 worlds, and no more worlds to be cut him off for. And you have 3 cutters, you have to cut him off from somewhere else. So what happens there? He cutters is Leil Haba, and he cutters is the lashon. He cutters a double lashon. That's the way people speak. So that's why it says he cutters.